Welcome to Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam on 860 AM WNOV, The Voice. I am your co-host, Tosha with a P. Apparently, I'm the only one who's warm in the studio today. Everyone else is bundled up in coats and hats, and I had the air on, so we turned it off. But
thank you.
that is your host, Rahim Islam. How are you today?
Cold. No, I'm fine.
He's not cold.
Nah,
He's
I'm
just cool.
Yeah,
He's just cool.
I'm just messing with
He's
Tosha.
just cool.
No, it goes from one extreme in here, from one extreme to the other. It gets from burning hot to freezing cold. But maybe in between the transition, we'll get where it needs to be.
Well, I just want to thank you all for going with the flow. However I'm feeling. If I'm hot, they let me turn on the air, and if I'm cold, they go with the flow. They just kind of look at each other and keep it moving. Thank you, guys. So we are here today on Friday. Rahim has been on planes, trains, and automobiles to get here, but he's here in his beret.
Yeah, I'm here. I gotta get me a summer beret. So if you got anybody know how to get a summer
Kango? Yeah.
No.
You don't want a Kango?
No. I don't want a Kango.
You don't want a Kango?
No. I want to. The airline stewardess says, "You mind if I call you Samuel Jackson?"
You said yes.
I said, "Look, if I hear that one more time, I might have to get some money for it."
Is that because of the beret?
I guess what it is, because I damn sure don't look like Samuel
You
Jackson.
don't look like Samuel Jackson
I think
at all.
I look better than Samuel Jackson. But that's my own.
Well, thank you guys for joining us.
I don't have his money. But he's a phenomenal actor.
He is. He's a phenomenal brother.
Yeah. I don't know much about him, but I definitely like he brings it. I like his spirit.
I like his presence, too.
Yeah. Definitely
Well,
like
I
his
like
spirit.
black men, so,
Well, I'm not talking like that. I'm talking like...
Well, no, you can't say that, but I can.
Come
I
on.
can. I can say that.
Don't go there. But
he's a brother.
well, I don't know what his
Consciousness is.
Well, yeah, I don't know what his level of consciousness is, because I'm telling you something. I have a 4-day rule in L.A. I can't stay there more than 4 days.
Then you gotta go.
I got to get the hell out of here. Those people are so artificial, it's unbelievable. In fact, I don't even understand it. It's so challenging to see people that false and fake. But I don't know him.
We don't know him, so we don't know. We can't speak on him. We can't speak on him. If you want to join in on the conversation, please join us at 444-5250 here at 860 AM WNOV The Voice. Rahim is live in the studio. We know you've been missing calling in and chit-chatting with him. We hope you've had a chance to take a look at my article in the column, Universally Speaking with Rahim. This week's article, we're talking about the black community and dreaming. When did we stop dreaming? So we hope that you can chime in on the conversation. But before we go any further, we went to Cali and L.A. and Samuel Jackson and the plane. We have not done our libation.
Right.
Which
and I'm sitting here looking at on the Courier, looking at the tremendous talent of Nat King Cole.
Awesome.
And what it reminds me of is the unbelievable foundation. And I look at a number of different people who emulated Nat King Cole.
Oh, right. When they got started.
Right, wanted to be. And the last one was Marvin Gaye.
Oh, okay.
And so you gotta watch his mannerisms, and you gotta see, and you can see, and we also read about him. He says how much Nat King Cole influenced him. But we want to. One of the things that we want to do, the libations, we do a digital libations to start our program, because we want to call on our ancestors. Fundamentally, we believe that when you don't know where you come from, then that means you accept almost anything. Those who don't know their roots and don't know their history is like a tree that don't have roots. They're not a deep people. They're not a grounded people. They're not a solid people. So your roots, your history, your connection to your ancestor is all that matters. It's all that matters. It's all we have. And once you understand that, you come to understand that you're just a step in the process. You're just a link in the chain. You're not the it. The it is a continuous process. You're just a connection to our past, and you're also a connection to our future. We will be ancestors very soon. There's no question about it. It's an actual fact. I don't care what you believe in, who you believe in, how you believe. The fact of the matter, as we've come into this dimension, we're going to leave this dimension, and we will be ancestors, and we will be a link in the chain. The question, how strong of a link will we be? Will we be like the ancestors, like a Nat King Cole?
Right.
That we are standing, we are modeling, we are emulating even today. So we call on that spirit that made men like Nat King Cole, that created Nat King Cole. And you know what? For every Nat King Cole, there's probably about 100 that didn't even make it to be Nat King Cole.
That we never knew about.
That was just as bad, just as talented, just as strong, because it's in our DNA, brothers and sisters. It's in our genes. But we will never know if we don't know our history. We don't know who we are. So we're calling on the spirit. That's why we call on the spirit. That's why there's not a conversation I will have about today if I'm not talking about yesterday. I will not have a conversation about tomorrow if I'm not talking about yesterday, because they go hand in hand. It's not that I'm romanticizing about the past. It's not I'm throwed off or something. No, I'm not. I'm far from being throwed off. No, this is strategic. This is how it's done. This is how humanity is advanced. It advances from one generation to the next generation when they know. And unfortunately, our family's been disrupted. Our communities have been disrupted. So we're not passing this information down in a natural path. And damn sure our public education system is not teaching this. So brothers and sisters, we do a digital libation to all those who've come before us. And let them know that their sacrifices, their commitment to our people will not be in vain. Because somebody's going to take that spirit, and it is existing in myself and others, and existing in so many different people. We call on that spirit to enter into us and become more cemented in our spirit today, so that we can allow that spirit to enter to the next generation to continue the struggle of our people in this country. Because you could book it. As long as we've been here, we've been on defense. As long as we've been here, we've fought and had to fight for everything. You would think by now we could have a conversation about what's in the best interest of black people and not be fighting for it. Not be fighting for basic rights, for housing, basic education. Basic things, to be treated with dignity and respect, to be treated like human beings. You would think those things are over, but it ain't. This struggle is going to be on. It's going to continue. So we're calling on the spirit of our ancestors, like the great Nat King Cole.
Ashe. So, Rahim, you have been traveling as usual, and sometimes I notice when you do your writing, I can tell when you've come across some people who have questioned you and questioned some of the work that you're doing, because it comes across in your writing.
Does it? Well, you know what? I spend a lot of time talking to a lot of people, and I know it sounds like I do a lot of talking, but it sounds like I'm not listening. It might feel like I'm not listening, but I'm really listening. And I'm listening for a couple of things. One, I'm listening for those who are really ready to work. Those who are not afraid. That one can articulate the challenges, but they're not afraid.
Right.
And so I talk a lot about the paralysis of hopelessness, and hopelessness come in many different forms. And so my job is to recognize the form it's coming in. And if it, to me, translate to do nothing, I have to fight it.
Right.
If it comes in a package, it could be a nice, beautiful package with a ribbon and with perfume and beautiful and it's laid out perfectly. But when I open it, it tells me not to do anything. I have to put it in the trash. I have to throw it away. And so we are able to deliver that message all kinds of ways.
Right.
But what it's telling me is do nothing. So I have to, my antenna has to be very up and have to be able to now listen to what's that's being said and then challenge it. Politely, respectfully. And sometimes I had a meeting just morning. I says, do you mean to tell me to do nothing? Is that what you're saying? Because you just finished saying as bad as things are and as bad as we are, here's what's happened to us. And so what are you telling me? And he said to me, the guy said to me, he says, Rahim, I'm not telling you not to do anything. He says, in fact, I'm telling you to keep doing what you're doing. I said, well, thank you. I'm good. Okay. I'm good. I'm a happy man. Because I thought you was telling me not to do anything. I thought what you was leading to was that nothing can be done. If we're on that street, we're on that road, that's a hopelessness road.
Right.
That's the road of hopelessness.
And we have to get off.
And we got to get off of that. We got to U-turn.
You coming with a bus,
right?
Yeah,
we got to get off. I liken our community to being. Here's what I told him. I told him today. I said, just imagine a whirlpool where you can create. It's like it's spinning around in circles and it's just taking everything down. And at the whirlpool, at the center of the whirlpool is a big hole. Mm-hmm. Well, the black community is in a whirlpool that's spinning out of control. And we're on a big ship. And we don't have nobody driving it.
Out of control.
It's right. On its own. It's
nobody
on it. No one's driving. No one. So I'm saying, look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a hold of that steering wheel. Now, here's my prayer. My prayer is, with others, we're going to get that steering wheel and we're going to try to turn that ship around under some of the most violent and most challenging circumstances. Because we got to go against the grain. The thing is spinning out of control. Is sucking us down into the hole. But yet we got to reverse our route in the midst of confusion.
Going against the time.
So, two things we got to do. And I don't even want to get to the point where we actually got to do the reversing yet. We got work to do. Just get our hands on the steering wheel.
Well, and work together.
That's the only way. I'm just saying that's the first task. Mm-hmm. And then my hope and prayer is that when we get our hands on the steering wheel, we don't just go over into the hole. There's some time that we can be able to figure out, navigate the next challenge for us. But that's where we are as a people. And so that's why it's very important that, I'm listening, I'm talking, but I'm doing a lot of listening.
And I can say that I've seen you take your message and tweak it as you've been listening over the last year.
Yeah. I done got less angry. People say, okay, you gotta lighten up, Rahim. You gotta lighten up. You're right. You know what? I said you're right. So I'm constantly listening.
Right, you're listening. You tweaked it.
I'm tweaking it.
Yeah. Now you didn't get rid of those ones that you saving those for later.
No. I got still some jabs to the stomach and to the chest and to the heart. Right. I got some hits right to the gut and to the heart and to the brain.
Well, we're gonna save those for later.
Yeah, but you're right. I'm lightening up a little bit. I'm getting a little soft. They wearing me down. No, but no. Here's what it is. It is I want to win. So if you're going to let an obstacle if you're going to if you think that what I'm saying and how I'm saying it is an obstacle for you, I'll change it.
Right. What's going to take? What is it?
Yeah, it's easy because I want to win. I want to win. I want to get our hands on that steering wheel. Right now, it's out of control. We have no leadership in our community. There's no one representing 45 million black people in America. And if it is, tell me who it is.
So you can go talk to them.
They doing a piss poor job. It ain't elected officials. Take them out of the equation. Right. I'm talking about on the private sector side. Who is representing the black man in America?
Exactly.
Who? What entity? Who is it?
What organization? Right.
Oh, we're leaderless right now. We have no leaders representing. Who's doing the business for the black man in America? 45 million. Who's negotiating for the black man in America?
On our behalf, right.
Who's speaking out for the black man in America? No. It doesn't exist. I don't see it. And if it does exist, if it does exist, they're doing a very poor job. They need to be not only fired, they need to be brought up on charges of treason. So I don't know what you even said that even got me all excited. But
I said hello, Rahim.
I don't even remember what you even said.
I said hello, Rahim.
Because I'm trying to tie it back to what you said. You said about the article. You say somebody must have
somebody said something to you.
Oh yeah, and I responded,
and you responded in your articles.
Okay, that's what you said.
So this week
you got me on a tangent.
You were talking about
calming down. Let me just
woosah. We're gonna woosah for a minute. But as I'm opening up, I'm really excited to see in the paper also that there's some things going on at our schools. We normally talk about that at the end, but just real quick, high school is opening and Lee School is opening, and this Saturday we're actually doing a recruitment fair over at the Webster campus where we are hiring. We're looking for counselors, administrative assistants, high school teachers, middle school teachers, an assistant principal for our high school, special education teachers. So that's pretty exciting. That's jobs.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited about the progress we're making. We're quietly becoming a major force.
I don't know if you knew they was hiring this many people, Rahim.
Oh yeah, each school has probably about 65 or 70 staff.
Oh, I'm joking. I know you.
Yeah, I don't know all of it. Look, let me just tell you something. Hey, look, somebody else is handling all that. Trust me. But the bottom line is, I'm very excited about being able to resurrect those buildings.
Yes.
I'm really, the vision of that whole concept of the Webster campus of becoming a high school is now it's coming to fruition.
It's starting to really come alive.
And you're going to really see us get little, excited and get creative of the kind of high school that we want to have for our community. Also, I'm very, very excited about the restoration of the Lee School.
Yes.
Bringing that school back online. It has such a historical significance to our community, and so we can continue that legacy, and then take that school to another height. The whole FUBU.
For us, by us.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not bashful. I'm not ashamed. Although I do believe in the concept of one world, one people.
All right, Kenny Gamble.
I am absolutely committed to one humanity. But there are so many people who are stuck on the racial. Mm-hmm. So I'm here as a representative of our ancestors. I'm here representing the black community I believe has gotten an absolutely bad deal. And humanity cannot become what humanity is intended to be if one group has been given such a bad deal.
Exactly.
So I'm excited about our schools. I'm hoping you come out to. When is that? What is
There's
that?
a fair. There's actually a recruitment fair this Saturday that's happening at the Webster campus, and that is 6850 North 53rd Street. That's 53rd and Green Tree. That'll be from 9 a.m. until 12 noon. And so to take all the fancy words out of it, if you need a job and you're qualified in any of these areas in education, we are hiring at Universal at the Webster campus. We're hiring for teachers, middle school, high school. We're hiring for an assistant principal, administrative assistants, counselors, and all that. So if you want more information, you can call one of the schools. You can call the Webster campus at 716-5858. You can also go to the website at uacb.org for more information. So jobs.
Yeah, well, I think that one of the things that there's two sides of education. There is the actual content-driven substance around the delivery of education, but then there's the business of education. Mm-hmm. And the business of education is something that we have been told that we're not supposed to participate in.
Exactly.
So it's all right that we become the performer. It's all right that we be the singer, but we're not able to be the manager or the lighting technician or the agent or the lawyer.
The show business.
Yeah, right. The business. We're really stuck on the performance side. So Universal, we're now taking the position that trust me, we're taking our knocks. It's not without. This is no time to glamorize the issue. This is some serious challenges that we have to undertake and deal with, because we're in an environment where we're not supposed to be there. Everybody else don't look like us.
Exactly.
Especially trying to build a school system. All the other school systems they're touting as these school systems as, look who operate them.
They don't look like us.
Right. And I say I fundamentally believe that in order for us to fix some of the problems that we face, we have to be leading the effort. Our children have to see us engaged in the fight, in the struggle. They have to see us, tackling the problem.
Exactly.
And so what they see with Universal, they see black people.
I always think about when you walked in and said, "I see black people."
Yeah, I love black people.
But it does do something when we go in and we visit the schools, especially when the young people and they introduce you and you talk about Kenny Gamble and they say, this is the president of the company, and those kids, those young people, they just look like.
I got a little kid called me Mr. President. I said, no, I'm not Mr. President. That's Barack Obama.
Well, he said, you my Mr. President.
He says, Mr. President. I said, I'm so tickled pink. But it's working.
Them. Right.
No, it's working because, let's just, if you just scan our community, and if you just look at the multiple, I never even finished how the media portrays the black community. I got about at least 4 more articles.
You took a break from that one.
Well, because you know why? Because it requires a lot of study. And the more I studied it, the more I says, no, I can't do this justice. This is way too complicated, and it's stacked. So I have to unpack it, and I says, no, I can't do it the way I'm doing. I need time to sit, to think, to read, to think, and to do it really justice. All right. And so I says, no. So I got into basically the early part of slavery. Okay. And I left it there. I still got,
Oh, you got
another
long way.
Right. I got the 1900s, was it from 1801 to emancipation. Then from after emancipation to the civil rights, and then today. How are we portrayed in the media today? So when you look at all the ways that we are portrayed, and there's a concept in the body that God has created in this magnificent body, human body He created in the mind, and it's the frontal cortex. The frontal cortex has two functions. One function is its cognitive. It's where your factoring and your thinking, your mathematical, all of your calculations are going on from that part of the brain, the front part of their brain.
Okay.
Some say that's the most highest part of the brain.
Okay.
Because if you notice that you look at the computer, and you can see they went from the computer, and then they got the microchip. The microchip is able to compute, what it used to be, a number of different, say like it compute 1,000. Now you get a microchip and compute the same mathematics,
right,
1 billion times.
Right.
So that is the most important part of the brain. So it has two functions. One is the cognitive part. The second is a natural defense mechanism to protect you from subliminal messages.
Okay.
So you got the question then, well, what are those subliminal messages? If you were to measure the amount of negativity that's coming to a young black child's mind on a daily basis, his mind is in overdrive. His subliminal, his frontal cortex is absolutely working overdrive. And guess what? The scientists say it can't do both well.
At the same time.
So you can do one or the other. And so when we go into a community and we put black people in front, it starts to calm that part of the brain down.
So they're receiving the positive.
So the brain doesn't have to work
it's hard
to defend against
the
negative subliminal messages, and it can go on and do other things. So we're constantly under attack.
And that's one way.
And so one of the ways we said, and this is what we've been pushing, is to build black organizations, get black leadership, get black people involved, and then you'll start to see that frontal cortex will start to get a little bit more relaxed.
We have a caller on the line. Caller, do you have we don't have a caller on the line. Okay. So that was deep, Rahim. I mean, it was a long, but I like how you broke it down.
Well, I mean, that's why I said you can't really do this thing justice when you start talking about images.
Right. So it's bigger when people understand the reason behind what you're doing. It's it's bigger. It's bigger than just we just want to have black businesses.
Or we just Rahim just want to vent.
Right.
No, it's not about venting.
No, it's about actually moving the paradigm and moving the community
It's
It's real.
real.
It's about.
I mean, just all we could do the math, and just count the number of times. What does a black child see on a daily basis?
Right.
Hear, feel. What is communicate? What are the mediums?
Right. That's coming out there.
Look at the radio.
TV, everything.
Look at TV.
Print, everything.
Look at the newspaper. Look what we're saying. What are we carrying?
Right.
I told you about, again, you can dress it all up if you want. But hopelessness is hopelessness.
Right, when you unpack
and you transmit to their children hopelessness. Nigga, you never be nothing.
Right.
You just like your deadbeat father. Hopelessness. That's just a fraction of what a child is hearing and seeing. And then you mean to tell me our children are so great, they still able to fight through all that, and you never see it because they still bright-eyed. They're still eager to learn. But even they are worn down.
Their psyche from
they're worn down. So over a period of time, you start to see little Mikey is not excited anymore. little Mikey's acting up in school because somebody wants to make him be like a little female. Let me tell you something. When I was growing up, we boxed. We slap box. We fist fight. We did everything because we are warriors. We are men of warriors. We are competitive warriors. And that's how you learn. You don't go into the jungle and you see the lion sitting here looking at his cubs. They're going at it. And then the lion get in and stop it when it's necessary before they kill each other. But that lesson is the lesson of a lion, of a warrior. So if you don't have that kind of thing taking place, and you see children, especially our boys, and they're defined by, good is defined by how quiet you could be. But they warriors.
It's supposed to be loud and rambunctious.
Are you kidding me? And when you have children, you understand that. And when you know our children, you understand that. So these people don't know our children. Exactly. So, but they still manage to even get through, even in spite of all these traps, to handicap them. So it's these images are very, very, very real, and they're serious images. And so a lot of things that we're doing might not look like, it might sound like, oh, Rahim is venting, or why ain't with that black stuff? He talking on the black. It's very, very, very important.
It's very real. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk about some other real stuff that we're doing right here in the community. Some of your partners are here in the room with you. You know, you like came in the city and just, you know, working with everybody.
Hey, I'm excited. I don't know what else to say. I'm excited. That's what the goal was, and you know, I'm excited.
You're making it happen. We'll be right back after the break. You are listening to Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam on 860 AM WNOV. Welcome back to Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam on 860 AM WNOV, The Voice. We are back. We have some guests in the studio with us. Well, one of them is not really a guest. Muhibb is here all the time. He's like a quasi member of the team. We have Muhibb Dyer, and then we have one of our new partners with us, Khalil Coleman.
How you doing?
Okay, this is your mic, Khalil, right here. Muhibb, that's your mic. Okay.
How are you, beloved people?
Peace, everybody.
So, when we went to break, we were talking about Rahim and all the stuff that, you know, he's coming into community. He really broke it down for us a little bit about why it's really just not about venting and I want to be black, this, but he really broke it down why it's important to put black images in front of our young people, and he connected the dots. So a lot of people just say, oh, you just want to be all about black stuff and you just want to, but he really made it make sense why we need to do the work that we're doing. So Khalil, I know there's something, both of you have something that's coming up. I know, Khalil, we're partnering with you on something, and there's a press conference today at 5 o'clock that's going to be unveiled with Alderman Hamilton. And then when you finish, I want you to talk about your initiative that we're working with you on with Universal and Alderman Hamilton. And then I know, Muhibb, you have something that's coming up next week, and I did put it on Rahim's calendar. Don't know if he's going to be able to be back in town for it. He has a meeting in Philly, but it is on his calendar.
That's going to break my heart. Brother, you got to be able to see it.
So, Khalil, why don't you share with us first what's coming up, what we're going to unveil this afternoon, and what this partnership is going to look like.
Cool. So, in a nutshell, after about 3 months or so on the quest for justice and, you know, kind of being involved in a lot of the protests and, you know, going back and forth and trying to identify what do justice look like for the black community, and, you know, realizing that a lot of our justice start, a lot of the injustice start way before there's ever an injustice that's presented on a larger scale, and that's in the everyday community. So now we've been working with Alderman Ashante inside of the Promise Zone initiative, which is a city-led initiative, in creating a safe zone, which is more of a communal operated initiative that we're working inside of the larger Promise Zone landscape to be able to develop what we know as hood ambassadors. And the hood ambassadors' goal is to work within these identified safe zone neighborhoods, which is more of like the roughest and the toughest black communities, dilapidated properties, blight, lack of resources, and being able to deploy these hood ambassadors into these communities to be able to activate the neighbors, activate the residents, and kind of tackle some projects that we're looking to do. Some of those projects include developing block treaties within, identifying violence as one of our areas of struggle in the black community, and being able to have these hood ambassadors work as liaisons and do prevention and intervention strategies, and being able to get more historical neighborhoods that's kind of been in some drama activities, and being able to kind of bring these people together and have them in some spaces that they normally won't be in. Also is to be able to bring some resources to these communities that's normally overlooked when it comes down to CDBG money, or
everybody don't know what
community development block grant dollars, which are federal dollars that's supposed to come to every city and dealing with the issues of blight, housing, youth programming, and economic development. So, being able to come with some resources to these neighborhoods and connect the dots, because everybody's not going to the city meeting. Everybody's not going to the conference, the press conferences. So bringing those resources to the people instead of having them have to find those resources on their own. So in a nutshell, that's what the Hood Ambassadors Initiative is. And the goal is to activate the people that live there to empower themselves.
Okay, so go ahead.
I was going to say, because I think we would probably be doing a disjustice to not really speak to who Khalil is to our audience. Khalil's one of those brothers that you've been hearing about, one of the young brothers and sisters who've been out there fighting for justice. Marching in the streets, protesting, and are just, upset about the conditions that we find ourselves in, where Black lives don't matter. And so Khalil and his crew said, we're gonna do something about it, and so. But I love the fact that, one, I love the youth, I love the fight and the spirit, but I also love the after the marches, after the rallies, after the vigil, the way you're talking, because it sounds like not that they've taken any of your fight away, but you sound like you're solution oriented. So, and you want to see some things get done, but you're not. You're out there trying to make it happen. So I wanted to not gloss over the pain and the struggle that you have to, when you have to go out there on your own and be by yourself, and a community even not even appreciating it. But you doing it because you believe it in your heart, and you are out there, and sometimes alone. And God knows you're putting your whole self in jeopardy. And so where's that come from? Why you?
The ancestors. That spirit that you was talking about earlier lives. It never dies. And it's like, but without an outlet, where do it go? And I believe that the ancestors and the Most High has just positioned me to be an outlet. And for a long time, just kind of chasing justice, and always kind of in my heart knowing that this was that purpose, and kind of finding my identity in that scope. And after that protest, or after that quote unquote what we might seem as a defeat because we didn't get justice through the criminal justice system, it becomes a moment of where do you go from here? It becomes a moment of now what? And we always hit the restart button, and we always starting back over at zero, and we get tired of starting back over at zero. And his brothers like brother Muhibb, and brothers like you, and sisters like Tosha, and Tony Cash, and Keon, and Sean Moore, and Brittany, and it's people like that keeps that spirit alive, and that's able to take that same energy that our ancestors once had and be able to deliver that in a time where we need it the most, and that's right now. In the safe zones, even working with the aldermen, we understand that there's a lot of skeptical belief about whether if the city is going to do the right thing or not. We don't know. But we do know that something has to be done.
Right.
And we do know that we can't not do nothing that you spoke of.
Right.
And
that's not an option.
It's not an option. And in that doing something, we believe, not hope, but we believe that change is gonna happen, and that's it's inevitable. And that's what we live with, and that's what we die with. And that's the energy that never dies. And that's how we able to keep that energy going. So, hopefully no time soon, but, in maybe 80 years from now, they'll remember me as an ancestor, and we'll remember you as an ancestor, and we'll remember everybody else in here as ancestors, and it won't just be a memorial on a tree. Like my brother Muhibb always say, a face on a t-shirt. So,
oh, that's powerful.
Yeah. Very powerful. So, tell us what's happening today, and then
that's gangster.
That's gangster.
That's gangster. That is absolutely. You know what? Let me just say that before you. Let me just say this. That's why, you gotta put the effort out. You never know where this thing is gonna go, so you gotta put the effort out. And I always try to say, let's create this magnet. There is enough people who feel the way you feel. All right, we just got to figure out how to magnet to pull them out together, because that's the crew we want to work with first. Yeah. The other crew behind them, we got to do a little bit more work with, because they're not there. They're not ready to sacrifice. They're not ready to do anything. They don't believe. They're hopeless, and sometimes they got other issues that distracted them. But there are some people who are like yourself, and that's how I met Muhibb as well. I met Muhibb and Quabana at a city hall, and they were rapping. I knew that rapping wasn't rapping. That wasn't just no pretty words. That came from the heart.
So, what's happening today, and how can people get involved, and what area are we looking at, and for details and things like that?
So what's happening today at 5 p.m. on the corner of 26 and Atkinson? Alderman Ashante Hamilton will be introducing publicly by holding a press conference the idea of creating the Safe Zone Initiative. As of now, the Promise Zone Initiative already exists, but there is, some money issues within the city now, and that's kind of causing them to try to delay the process. So Alderman Ashante, this is his attempt, and this is a community attempt or first process to get the Safe Zone started, get the community aware, and create that platform to make it happen. And that's at 5 p.m. on the corner of 26 and Atkinson.
Okay, and then these zones, is this just in Alderman Hamilton's district?
So the idea is to have safe zones in about 5 or 6 targeted neighborhoods. As of now, in terms of where we stand and then just getting the process started, We're focusing on one zone right now, and that's the garden home zone.
Garden home zone.
Right.
And can you give the boundaries for people who may not know?
Sean Moore can do that a little bit better than me.
You can do it.
From
25th.
Come to the mic.
From 25th Street on the east to 28th Street on the west, from Roosevelt on the south and Ruby on the north.
Okay, so if anybody knows where the old Garden Home School is, Garden Home School still open?
It's a monastery now.
It's a monastery. Okay, so if anybody knows where Garden Home School is, it's that neighborhood. Also, Congress School used to be over there. I don't know if it still is, but Ruby, 27. Everybody know what 27th Street is. So that area over there. So there will be a press conference today at 5 o'clock unveiling it. Khalil,
and
you'll
we'll
be
be
there.
joined by the Alderman, Universal Companies, I Will Not Die Young campaign, other community partners, community residents are going to be there standing in support of the Safe Zone initiative. And, this is, again, just the first start of the process of getting it out to the community and the city taking a stance on behalf of Alderman Ashante Hamilton.
Okay.
Let me just say sometimes it doesn't go it's not noticeable, but let me just show you how you change in the world. All right. Unfortunately, Michael Brown died innocent, his death, but out of his death has sparked an almost a national movement. So you might not even know that you're participating, but it is absolutely put on America. We brought this issue of Black Lives Matter and the mistreatment of black men to the highest level. I was in a meeting earlier in the week with the police commissioner in Philadelphia and the district attorney. So why they calling me to a meeting? They called me to a meeting, and there was about 15 of us to a meeting. They never called us. They called us to a meeting. So they called us to a meeting, and they walk us through. This is dealing with the issue of, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a similar situation in Philadelphia with, what is his brother's name? Brandon Tate Brown, who was murdered. He was murdered by a police officer with a single shot to his head. The young brother who had just come home, he had a gun in his car, supposedly had a gun in his car. And they pulled him over for a light, not having a light in on his front light, which he should have had. And so the DA and the police commissioner is there with their second and third in command, and they had a whole team of people there. They're walking through the entire case to us. So, unbeknownst to us, all of it, kind of sensed where it was going. So, we questioned everything. From the time this person was stopped to the time the force was used to kill him. That never happened before. So, but it only happened because, one, they wanted to now, they just released that they're not going to prosecute the police officer. And so they were looking for cover. All right? But that's not really what a thing that you should be looking at. The fact of the matter is that this would have been business as usual.
Absolutely.
And it's unfortunate they're still killing our young people, and that we're at the mercy of these people who have armed to the teeth. Yet they still have to resort to that kind of violence to apprehend somebody. So the point I'm making is that we have to be able to seize this moment. We can't let this die. And we can't let this energy just pass and then be that's why I said earlier, who's doing the business for the black community? Right. Who is negotiating? Who is, so when we in that meeting and we in that meeting, we challenging everything. Now they have their own opinion. They did what they're going to do. But the bottom line, it shows to me nobody is negotiating. No one is challenging the situation. I mean, we're protesting, and thank God you're doing that. But we got to get it. We got to take that energy and turn that anger into some action.
I mean, we have to take it somewhere and not be remorseful. If I didn't mention the fact that in the climate right now, Dontre Hamilton getting killed, getting shot 14 times in a public park. And right now, and at the same time, we're going to be having a press conference for Safe Zones, how we took that fight for justice and trying to take it to something tangible on an everyday scale. They'll be having a hearing to decide whether or not if the cop get his job back. You know, so we in the same climate. You know, I was in Ferguson and the mayor called Sean. And this is how we got to where we at now. You know, and you talk about if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be, you know, certain things wouldn't happen, you know, and kind of how the universe lined up. But, you know, I was in Ferguson. The mayor called Sean and called him into the meeting and said, let's talk because we don't want Milwaukee to look like Ferguson. And that's how we even got to the idea of creating a safe zone. So it's like everything, you know, we may question the universe and we may be hurt because of the pain and the despair that we constantly see and we constantly go through. But without that, you know, it's like no pain, no gain. You know, we won't have the will to continue to keep striving and to keep saying it got to be something more than just this. So, you know, I'm you know, that's, I just wanted to tie that into what you was talking about with the piece with Philly.
I think that's definitely and so that really should be to anybody who's listening. You know, we have to work together. We have to be working together so that we can deal with some of this. This stuff is so systemic. Because there's a mindset that still hasn't been really brought up on charges. Mm-hmm. There's still, to me, I question the mind. Because in that meeting, one of these white district attorneys, now this is a black police commissioner and a black district attorney. One of the deputy district attorneys, a white district attorney, he wanted to make it known in this presentation of why they came to the justification not to charge these police officers. He wanted to bring up his police record. I said, so what did that have to do with anything? I said, so you mean to tell me he left the house that morning because of his police record, that he is worthy of his death? Mm-hmm. Are you telling me that? I said, then you should not be so insensitive to bring that up because you have no idea what you're talking about. Because if you were saying that because he was fearful that his police record would come into play and he had some back time, so he was on parole, that a man is on parole is not going to go and get a gun and have a shootout with a police officer when he has a chance to run.
Exactly.
Right.
They showed about 3 or 4 tussles with the police. 2 police officers. 1 man, young man, 2 police officers tussled, and he had chances to run, but yet he gonna run back to the car to grab a gun.
Right.
It makes no sense.
Right. Well, you gotta criminalize the black male. That's the justification. As long as, like the man just got hung in Mississippi, right? Yeah. They brung up the man criminal record from 35 years ago. But that's the type of ideology that we dealing with when we talking about, and because you talked about how the kids constantly got the, what you call the frontal
cortex.
Right. So they dealing with this every day, and it's that constant battle, right? But you know, the man got hung, but you criminalize him to try to justify the reason. Right. Oh, he had to be doing something.
Right.
You know.
We have a call. Caller, you have a question or a comment?
Oh, I just had a comment. I was just going to mention that even with this Tony Robinson, like within like the day that it happened, they already had to pull up, you know, a police record. They already had to try to demonize him, criminalize him. And it's like, he is the victim.
Right.
There's no rule that says that whether you're doing something right or wrong, that you get penalized right there. You bypass the court, you bypass being arrested, you bypass it, and you just immediately die for whatever they think that you did wrong. And it's like, that's wrong. And the reason why they do that, because later down the line, when these cops have to tell their story, they like, oh, I was so fearful. And then you got the audience like, well, he probably was fearful because he committed that crime. And he's this bad, awful guy. And it's like, that's not it at all. And it's a blessing that on Wednesdays they do that Precious Lives. And then the world or the people that listen get to see a whole nother side of the story. This was somebody's son. This was somebody who was about to go to college. This was somebody who had a job. This was somebody that was in love. This was somebody who wanted to get married or have kids. This was a human that did not deserve to go like that. On Facebook, we had a conversation about some of the things that's going wrong and why aren't people more active. And I said, there's so much on the black person's plate, everything from drugs, education, jobs, finances. It's so, the plate is so full that I think some people have become numb. It's like post-traumatic stress syndrome. You're just like, I don't even know what to do. I'm just numb to the situation. But it keeps coming back and back and back. But then you hear statements, it's warm outside, or somebody going to get shot today, or that's another drug dealer, or that girl missing, maybe human trafficking. We almost get to the point that we just start accepting the situation because we're so overwhelmed. We're bombarded in every area. There's no area that we're really free in. And it's just so overwhelming. And I think when people are so bombarded with all this other stuff, that's what kind of stops people from going out there to vote or going out there to show support at the Fire and Police Commission today or go to support Ashanti Hamilton. It's just so, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but if every black person isn't mad and upset and pissed off, then there's got to be some reason why they aren't showing out in massive numbers to say, we sick of this crap.
Well, sister, thank you for your call. Let's tell you. I would like for you to first of all, that's why we have to stay, keep hope alive. But this is why I was talking about. I've been talking about how the media portrays us. So for 300 years they portrayed us as animals, and they continue to do it even now. But it's really subliminal. They was really outward before. And with an animal has no soul. So what you see today is the same manifestation, it's the same mindset. So the other thing is that when they set these kind of things off in motion, it's almost scripted to the point where it's not so much as scripted, it's just a natural reaction for them. Why? Because it's about managing public opinion. And in public opinion, this is where the media plays the role. And this is why Malcolm said that the media is the most powerful institution on the planet. Why? It can make a guilty man innocent and an innocent man guilty. And so that's what they do. So that's the mark. But the thing of it is that for us as a people, and it sounds like the sister that was on the call, and is truth a testament that all of us are not bamboozled by this nonsense. All of us ain't falling for this bull. So the question is then, what do we do? So yeah, we're overwhelmed, and the black community is under siege in every aspect that the sister just described, and it's worse than that because there's levels of it. It's like waves coming in. So the first wave, you think you got it, then the next thing you know, another wave is coming. And if you go into the ocean and you sit there and watch the ocean, the waves don't stop. They come in all the time. They never end. That's why the rich people, they don't even live on the beaches. They live up on top of the beaches because they can't stand that wave is coming in all the time. And that's what it is. It's wave after wave after wave. But guess what? We got to win in spite of that. So that means that we got to create something we can hand off. And that's starting and stopping you described. We got to deal with that situation. So, I'm hearing myself. You know what? That's that daggone phone over there. I'm trying to hear something that's going on in my head. I'm like hearing it. but the phone is going off in there, and it's actually playing. It's ridiculous. But anyway, it's ridiculous. I thought I was losing my mind. I'm like, wait a minute, where is this coming from? But anyway, so the 2 points I don't want to leave, even though I just got crazy there. Again, the media, how they portray us, and again, we will never ever expect the oppressor to feel the pain of those who are being oppressed.
On my life.
So another good segue to what we just talked about, Muhibb, 2 things. I want you to talk about what's coming up on Tuesday. And you can't leave here without spitting for Rahim because, he spits, but his spitting is a little bit different than your spitting. So
That's right.
You got to spit for him because
That's right.
actually he's going to have to cut out of here a little bit early too because he has to go over to the press conference and join Khalil a little bit later. Mm-hmm. But I want you to talk about what's coming up, from kings to thugs to presidents.
Mm-hmm.
So we know we've seen you do your I've seen you do what we would call spitting. Right?
Right.
But now you kind of taking it up a little bit. You've taken it up another notch. It's a theatrical performance now. So tell us a little bit about that and what's coming up on Tuesday.
Well, on this coming Tuesday, March 24th, 2015, at UWM, we're having a number of things. We're having a open mic conducted by my good friend and partner, Kwabena Antone Nixon, and he's going to be featuring different poets on the roster, and that's going to be the lead-in act to my performance, from kings to thugs to presidents. Now, from kings to thugs to presidents is the culmination of a body of work that I developed over the past 10 years. And it kind of ties in perfectly with the conversation that we've been talking about today, because being a Burleigh boy, growing up in the zip code of 53206, which is, if you compare 53206 to a lot of the zip codes all over this country, it's one of the most violent. They said that in UW-Madison, when lawyers are discussing the rate of incarceration amongst African American males, they cite 53206 as testing ground for that. Being a Milwaukee boy, a Burleigh boy from the north side of Milwaukee, graduating from North Division, being homegrown in that sense and respect, the story that I've committed my life to throughout my poetical career is the story of the trials, the tribulations, and the pain of the African American male, and ultimately the triumph of the African American male. So it's important that we talk about strategy and on the ground approach. My approach, along with that on the ground approach, is the air approach, and the air approach is using the art as a vehicle to be able to elevate the consciousness of the little black boy who grows up on the north side of Milwaukee. And that's what I attempt to do in my work. And it's going to take a lot nowadays, because as Brother Rahim said, you're dealing with all of this imagery. And if you taught, they say repetition is the mother of learning. And if you taught over time that all you are is a thug, a hustler, a criminal, and an animal, it's easy to buy into that. And it's more difficult for you to buy into the idea that you're a king and that you had a capacity to be a president. And we're not necessarily talking about the president of the United States. We're just talking about the idea that you have greatness within you, that you are born with the capacity of being more than a statistic. You are born with the capacity of doing more than just throwing your life away on an inner city corner and dying next to a bag of Doritos and some dried up urine from the night before, and that's the condition that God's child is leaving this earth every day.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm glad you said that like that, because I watch a couple shows, and I watch it specifically for what you just described. How unimportant life has become. And I remember they're talking about, even with Michael Brown's body being out for 5 hours,
laying out.
Well, I've seen that now over and over and over again.
Right.
And like you said, the conditions of these young people.
That's right.
It's really tragic, and we just have to figure it out. I mean, this is our challenge. So our ancestors had the challenge of actually enslavement, and they were able to prevail.
That's right.
Or to know that a person could come in and do whatever they wanted to your wife.
That's right.
Or could do anything to you, and you had no recourse whatsoever.
That's right.
And we prevailed.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the capacity, but we have to understand that we have to work together. That's the missing piece that's missing. We got to figure it out, and I don't have the answers except that just do it.
Right. Right.
You know, just do it. Just get in the room, and whatever way that we can bring the people together and have a discussion. And I told him the other day, I'm going to bolt the door.
Mm-hmm. Can't nobody get out.
You can't get out.
That's right.
And hold us long enough to get through the withdrawal period.
That's right.
That a long-term addiction to ignorance, a long-term addiction to inactivity,
right,
a long-term addiction to disunity,
right,
has created.
Right.
So we now got to get to a point where we got to detox.
Right. Right.
And so some of us is not affected as others.
Mm.
So why you though, Muhibb? Why did it hit you? Why have you taken this path in your life? Why? And now you taking it to another level.
That's right.
I love this. I mean, this
right.
is really, really beautiful, man.
Right.
So why you?
Well, why not me? In the end, why not me? My mother, the simple answer is that my mother was a servant, and part of my childhood I spent with her in food pantries feeding black people and going into hospitals and visiting black people who were sick, and sharing my house with every black child that she adopted or took into foster care, and going to funerals to mourn black people. So the easy answer is that I inherited it. The harder answer is, I think when we were talking about tragedy before, my godson, Preston Blackmere, was killed in 2005, and he was shot on 28th and Burleigh. And his mother didn't come to his funeral because she was drug addicted. His father didn't come to his funeral because he never knew his father. There's nothing more disgusting than the environment that our kids are growing up in today.
Absolutely.
And somebody has to do it. Somebody has to turn the lemons into lemonade. Somebody has to turn the tragedy into triumph. Somebody has to be committed to building our communities instead of destroying our communities. And being a Muslim, the Quran says there are messengers from amongst your people. So the only people who can really fix it is the people who have been through it. The answers are not going to come from the outside. They always come from the inside. And I just feel like I was built for it. I was in the classroom the other day at Clark Street School. Clark Street School is on, I believe, 28th and Clark. And the crazy thing about that is the little girl, Sierra Guyton, who was riding her bike just last summer, took a bullet in the head God bless her soul, she died. So I'm sitting in the classroom, and some of her siblings are in the classroom. And it's a very tough class because we're talking about the reality of what we is. What is we today? We is baby mama drama. Our we is men being incarcerated. Our we is growing up in conditions with the worst education, worse food, worse housing. So I just made them all get up and look outside the window. And I said, what do you see? And you could see trash lace the street. And you could see men walking down the street at 12 o'clock when men are supposed to be working. This is what the kids are saying to me. You can see boarded up houses. You can see all of these different things. And I said, so what does this suggest to you if you're looking at your own environment? That we living in a trash can. That we're throwaway people. So I sat him back down and I said, that's not the we of who we are. The we of who we really are is we come from greatness. We come from significance. We were put on this earth. God gave us the breath of life so that we can make a magnificent impact, that we can change things, that people should write books about us and they should build statues in our names. And like Dr. Martin Luther King, there are 900 streets in America that are named after him. That's who we are. We are people who take care of our children. We are people who show up. We are people who lead and guide mankind. And the kids are just looking at me like I'm speaking Martian because nobody talks to them like that. Nobody speaks to their greatness. So when I look at myself, if I don't do it, who will? And that's what matters to me most. Who's going to stand in the balance on the front line between our kids and certain death? Because that's what it is who's going to stand in between our kids and certain death. And if we don't believe that you building your school or Khalil doing his marches or me being in the classrooms or whoever else, because we all have a role to play in this thing, if we don't believe that we matter, what's the consequences if we don't do anything?
Well, I hate to even think about it, to me, because I say to myself, it don't look good. You know, the consequences for me, well, I'd probably take a gun and shoot myself and blow my brains out.
That's right.
Because there's no sense of living. You know, so I'm in agreement with you. And I think that, I just think that the war that we're in, and that's what it is, it's a war. We have to go at this war in a mental way. We have to outthink our enemy. We got to outsmart our enemy. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is we got to collaborate with each other.
That's right.
There has been efforts throughout our history. And when you talk about our greatness, we can talk about the examples of our greatness that in the odds that where certain certainties of life that present themselves and we will prevail. That's the actions. That's the examples of our greatness. And they're in everything. I mean, I was looking at the documentary the other day on Jack Johnson. I mean, you gotta go check that out.
He was gangster.
I mean, this is 1903.
Yeah.
1903.
I've seen some of his fights.
1903. 7 years. Willett. I can't even think of the guy's name. He says. They were so vicious of calling him, but Jack Johnson didn't worry about it. He challenged them everywhere. You see Muhammad Ali doing all the crazy stuff and going in his training camp. Where'd he get that from? He got that from Jack Johnson. Because Jack Johnson was a bad dude, and they wouldn't give him a championship fight for seven years. But the point I'm making is that it's not just the incremental exception we're talking about.
That's right.
We're talking about a measurement of exception that exceeds logic. when it's not supposed to happen. And in every area of content or discipline you could think about, we've prevailed. And that gene, that DNA is running in our blood.
It is. It is.
So, and then you got to ask yourself, why is it such a fight? So you can look at that two ways. You can look at it as a fight is because we are fundamentally incapable, and we are what they portray us as.
That's right.
Or something is in us that somebody doesn't want to see lit up.
Oh yeah.
Because it's about competition. And if you put us on a give us just a reasonable playing field, we prevail. I'll give you an example. There was a brother told me about a situation about I think it's a Greek kind of mythology, but he was talking about how powerful we were. So there was the imagine in your minds a big Olympic stadium back, thousands of years ago. And in that stadium, there's 75,000 people who come. Now, they train these lions to fight the men. They fight the men. They train these, or they not trained the lions, but they actually orchestrated the lions. These lions, over years, they had heads big as you could possibly imagine. And they had teeth that's just absolutely built for this fight. And so it became a big sport. So they got Africans to fight the lions. So you think it's going to be 10 up, 10 down. But here's the issue. They would bury the brothers into the dirt. And the only thing that he could fight these massive lions with was his head. Right? So he's fighting the lion, 10 up, 10 down. They cheering, 75,000 people cheering every time that lion rip off a head. And this is excitement for them. Under the most unbelievable odds. There's no way in the world they can win. So one brother figured it out. He timed it right. So when the lion, he had no hands, nothing, his head, he buried in dirt. He timed it right. And when the time was right, he grabbed that lion by his jugular with his teeth, pulled that lion down and killed the lion. 75,000 people rose up in unison and said, "It ain't fair."
That's right.
It ain't fair. This is what we're dealing with, brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
We're dealing with a mind like as sick as this mind. So what we're dealing with, so when the playing field was even somewhere remotely leveled, right. So here's what they did now. Going forward, every participant, they took out his teeth. All right?
Figure this one out.
So this is the odds we are under.
Right.
But we got to win.
That's right.
We got to take the example of that brother who was able to take that lion down in spite of being handicapped up the kazoo. We got to win.
That's right.
And our ability to win is we got to collaborate. So I always say, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? So anybody who's listening, you should ask, let's get a word of mouth campaign going of collaboration. Let's get a word of mouth campaign going of asking your leaders, who are they meeting with? Who are they talking to? Who are they working with? If they're not working with the other brothers and sisters, then you got to challenge them, because that's got to be the thing that's going to fuel this movement. This word of mouth has to be fueled by a passion and desire that we have to collaborate and got to work with each other.
We do.
We are going to take a break. When we come back, so we just heard Rahim spit, right?
He spit all the time.
When we come back, we're going to hear Muhibb spit for us a little bit of what you're can expect on Tuesday. And it's free on Tuesday, correct?
It's free, sister.
It's
open
free.
to the public.
Open to the
Oh,
public.
that's great. And
we-
I'll be there because I just checked my plane
just-
flight. Yeah, I'm.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's
coming.
back.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah, bring
Plane,
your,
trains, and
bring,
automobiles.
bring your sons, bring your daughters. Let's make it a family affair.
Okay, so we're going to come back. We're going to hear a little bit of what you can expect on Tuesday. You are listening to Universally Speaking with Rahim Islam on 860 AM WNOV, The Voice.
For all of my people who need a word of inspiration to keep the fight going, we look the chief devil dead in the eye, wherever that devil may be, and we say, they will not break us. They cannot break us. They will not break us. They cannot break us. There are no trials, no tribulation, no pressure, no pain, no hurricane strong enough to stop my people. We will always find our way back to God. So we look the chief devil dead in the eye. We tell him, bring on your planes. Fill them with dope. Drop crack bombs on us. Make the whole hood look like a third world country. Evict us. Turn our lights off. Turn our gas off. Break our windows, our refrigerators, our TVs, our stoves. You can even break our minds. But guess what? You will never get to our souls. You will not break us. You cannot break us. You will not break us. You cannot break us. There are no trials, no tribulation, no pressure, no pain, no hurricane strong enough to stop my people. We will always find our way back to God. So even if you dry the whole hood up, you could dry the whole hood up, make it look like a desert, leave us with no money, no opportunity, no hope, no chances, no mothers, no fathers, make dope dealing the only way of life. Have us robbing each other over your scraps, killing each other over your crumbs, make 18 a good age to die, put our faces on t-shirts memorialized, give us the worst everything, worst education, worst food, worst clothing, worst jobs, and after all of that, we will still look you dead in your eye and ask you, is that all you got? Is that really all you got? You don't know who you dealing with now, do you? We've taken your best punches, taken all your drama. We will never fall. We will never lose. There is nothing you can do. Oh, you will not break us. You cannot break us. You will not break us. You cannot break us. There are no trials, no tribulation, no pressure, no pain, no hurricane strong enough to stop my people. We will always find our way back to God. So even if you bury the whole hood alive, you could bury the whole hood alive, bury our spirits under 20-inch rims, under platinum chains, under cars, under clothes, bury our spirits under foolish music, under blood money, under tennis shoes, turn my people against me and me against them, make their every word, their every thought, their every action, their every poem be about my ugliness, about my nothingness, and even still, I will always find my way back to them, and they will always find their way back to me. There is nothing you can do. You can't hurt us. You can't hold us down. You can't stop water from seeking its level, and since water is in us, you will never be able to stop us from seeking the truth. It is impossible. We are not afraid of your might. We are not afraid of your intelligence. We've read the story of Pharaoh. We know it is prophesied that you fall, not us. What you gonna do when we don't want to be a part of your world no more? What you gonna do when we don't want to be a part of your world no more? What you gonna do when we don't want to get high no more? Don't want to get drunk no more? Not hypnotized by your music no more? What you gonna do when we don't want to be criminals no more? When we burn your dope, burn your guns, burn your money as an offering to the Most High God to regain his respect? What you gonna do, huh? You gonna put us in jail? Too late, we was already born in it. What you gonna do? You gonna kill us? That'll only give my baby girl a reason to put my picture underneath her pillow at night, praying to God that the fairy godmother of justice, instead of giving her money for a tooth, give her the same courage, same conviction, same determination to be a soldier, just like her daddy when she grow up. There is nothing you can do. We're laughing at you. Underneath all this pain, we're laughing at you. Underneath all these tears, we're laughing at you. All poor people, all oppressed people, all freedom-loving people, all righteous people are laughing at you. Listen to me, family. You will not break us. You cannot break us. You will not break us. You cannot break us. There are no whips, no chains, no water hoses, no jail time, no death, no depression, no problems, no nothing, no trials, no tribulation, no pressure, no pain, no hurricane strong enough to stop my people. We will always listen to me. We will always listen to me. We will always find our way back to truth, find our way back to love, find our way back to freedom. The people will always find our way back to God.
Oh, I can't even get a out.
That's a wow.
That's Muhibb Dyer. If you want to hear more and see more, that is just a little bit of what will be taking place on Tuesday, March 24th, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. at the Student Union, UWM, 2200 East Kenwood Boulevard. That is From Kings to Thugs to Presidents, a theatrical performance by Muhibb Dyer. Milwaukee's own.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I tell you, I'm very rarely quiet. I'm speechless. I'm absolutely speechless, brother.
That was powerful, Muhibb.
I'm absolutely speechless because I acknowledge talent. I am a fan of talent. That is talent, and that is true.
Yes, sir.
That is truth.
So this is free performance that's taking place on Tuesday.
Yeah, you got to get out to this. You got to be a part of this. You got to be a part of this. And
I'm going to put this on Rahim's Facebook page, on his Instagram page, and on his Twitter. Please, information.
Yeah, you got to be there. Milwaukee, you got to be there. We got to be there in force. We got to be there. We got to hear this message. This message is for our souls. We got work to do. We have work to do. We're not going to get there if we're not prepared to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those who come before us, you know, and you know, you look, everybody, you know, I talk to a lot of young people, and they say, oh, well, I was in a room about, I guess, 7th or 8th graders, and there's got to be about 30 of them. So everybody wants to be Beyonce or Michael Jordan, you know, or, you know, what's the other rapper's name? I don't even know. Lil Wayne. Yeah, Lil Wayne. I said, well, you know what? Well, that's plan A. What's your plan B? Have a plan B and a plan C. All right? Because in order for you to get greatness, you got to work at it.
That's right.
You know, there's always an exception. There's some people who just roll out of bed and they got it, but they don't keep it. So they might have it today, but they don't have it tomorrow. In order for you to keep it, if you were born with it like that, you got to work at it.
Yeah.
But if you haven't, which most of 99.9% of us are not born with it, or born with a little bit, that we have to perfect. It's called working. It's a natural phenomenon of life that, in order for me to live, something has to die. You know? So there's a give and take that's taking place in the universe. And if you want something in life, the give and take there is you have to earn it.
That's right.
You got to be prepared to earn it. And so what you're doing, brother, I mean, my hat's off to you. I'm going to support you any kind of way I can support you. I want to be right next to you. Right next to you. I want to be there right next to you as you are making a way in this life. Because this is as good as it gets. That was powerful.
So we want to remind you that is next Tuesday at the Student Union Theater at UWM, 2200 East Kenwood Boulevard, 6:30 p.m. You'll get a chance to hear more of Muhibb Dyer, from the Kings to Thugs to Presidents. And we were very fortunate a few years ago. Muhibb let us do a little bit of play on that, and we did from, I don't even remember what it was. We did from maids to, I can't remember now. It was good though. We did from maids to something to moguls, I believe. But it was good when we did Black Girls Rock. So we want to thank you for stopping through, Muhibb. We also want you guys to go out and support him. There is no excuse. It is free.
That's right.
And Kwabena Anton Nixon will be hosting, so you know he's going to turn up. And there'll be some other spoken word people there. And Rahim's going to be in the house. He's going to spit.
Yeah. Hey, look, no, I'm going to do is like keep some tissues handy. I'm going to keep my tissues so I don't be doing no ugly crying. Because I'm known for crying. Because my heart is heavy.
So we also want to encourage you all to run over to the press conference that's going to be taking place at 5 o'clock over for the Safe Zones with our brothers Khalil and Sean Moore, and support them with our main brother, Ashante Hamilton, who's going to be speaking and unveiling the first Safe Zone that's going to take place in the Garden Homes area. That's going to be happening at 5 o'clock today, shortly, in about 15 minutes. So Keon and I are going to hold it down. Until then, they're going to skedaddle and be prepared over there for that press conference. We want you to join them and support them in that effort. So my takeaway from today's show, as the three gentlemen sat here, first of all, I just love Keon. You know I love black men, right? You know that, right? I love black men. You want to talk, Keon? I'm gonna actually let you talk today. Here. So Keon, you know I love black men, right? So today when I was sitting here listening to them talking, I was just thinking, wow, here's three different black men in three different ways that each of them are making a contribution and making a difference in our community. Three totally different men, three different ages, three different mediums that they're using. And I know a lot of times when Rahim starts on one of his rants, we don't always know what direction he's going in. But today, when he really started with the frontal cortex and started breaking that down as it relates to the schools and the importance of having black staff and teachers and everybody that's in front of the young people. And then when that even relates back over to Khalil and the work that they're doing in the communities, and then even goes over to Muhibb, it started to just connect the dots. That it's not just I'm blacker. I don't know which movie that is. I can just remember that movie where it says I'm blacker than black and blacker than black. It's, you know, it was a rap song, but it really didn't make no sense. I think it was Chris Rock or something. Well, he just was rapping about CB4, and I'm blacker than black and black. But that he really broke it down and connected the dots today, where there's really a method. Where we talked when we were on the show with Mr. Gamble, we talked about the message and music, but there's really a method to the madness. There's a reason why we're doing the work that we're doing, and you have to combat the things that even Muhibb talked about in his piece, that we have to go at them strategically, piece by piece. You know, everything can't be done from the top to the bottom. Some of these things we have to get them at their root, at the core. And if it starts by having our young people see people that look like them on a daily basis. I mean, I see these young people and they are in awe when someone introduces Rahim to them as the president of the company. I mean, it's like they want to touch him just to see if he's real.
Yeah, it's reestablishing our heritage. I mean, I always said that, you know, as a child, my youth, you know, we were always told, and I went to Harambe Community School, so it was a black charter school, all black charter school, and, you know, you were always told your heritage and where you came from. You know, that's something that's been lost in time. You know, so yeah, of course, for them to see black leaders,
right?
You know, black militants, black poets, black activists, somebody fighting for them. Yeah, that's grassroots.
It is grassroots, and it. The more, you know, I know we talk about it. Someone asked me, well, what's the topic of you? Do you guys know what the topic of your show is going to be? I'm like, yeah, black. Black people, black community, the community.
No one can do for you what you need to do for
do
yourself.
For self. Yeah. Black.
Yeah, black.
Pretty much anything black in the community.
And it's necessary.
And we every week, as Rahim sat here and said, well, I don't know what you said to start me off. Well, all I said was good afternoon, but
black.
to get you going, all I said was good afternoon. But I do notice as he travels and when I'm editing the writing and stuff that comes in, that a lot of times he is speaking to the different questions and comments that he's getting from people from around the country, not just in Milwaukee and Philadelphia, but it could be from Atlanta, it could be from DC, it could be from Baltimore. I mean, because we think we got it bad here and in Philly. I mean, can you imagine in Baltimore?
Oh yeah.
I mean, Baltimore, it just hurts my heart when I even think about.
And you talked about those three different men today. Three different men from three different aspects, all with the same passion and fire.
For our community.
For our community, for our people, to do for ourselves. I mean, Khalil, he's been traveling the country fighting for justice. I mean, he's been out in Ferguson. He's been, where was he just? Madison and, Muhibb, like he said, he told you the story of his godson, and that's where his passion comes from. And Rahim is just
everywhere.
Yeah, I remember the story of his upbringing.
Yeah.
So,
and that's just the parts that he every time you sit down and talk to him, you hear another part, you be like, "What? You was shot how many times? What?"
So these are all black leaders up and coming. Brother Umar Johnson said something in one of the come on, name real quick.
What?
Umar Johnson.
Dr. Umar Johnson, that was here at the
Hidden Colors.
Hidden Colors.
One of the hidden colors that, in our community, the black community, we don't really have many black leaders that are willing to die and have the passion for what they're doing. We have a lot of deal brokers. And those three gentlemen that I see there, I see black leaders.
Oh, definitely. I think there are a lot of people that do, when you talk about deal brokers, that's people who are in things it's transactional. What can I get out of it? And it's a transactional deal. And once I've obtained or gotten what I can get out of it, then I'm on.
And they commentate from a theoretical standpoint. With not a lot of scars on their knees, what I'm saying?
Right. No, but you got people that are in it for the long haul, and these are people that have been doing work behind the scenes.
Yes, for a long time.
And, you see people's journey and where they've come from, and that they're ready to dig in and do the hard work. And I knew immediately, obviously Rahim had already met Muhibb and Kwabena, but when he and Khalil met, it was like, I was really a little bit afraid, actually.
Why?
Because it was like, you know what? These two right here could start. They could really start something.
And it's ironic you say that, because when I met both of those brothers, they were a dream come true. They were the persons that I had been longing for in my life, brought into my life, the revolutionaries. Khalil is, in my opinion, is a born revolutionary.
Oh, definitely.
And I was in the garden with Khalil last summer before it all really jumped off, and he was a revolutionist waiting on a revolution.
Well,
he done
hooked up. He done hooked up with Rahim now.
when he got it with the nationwide, with the things that went on in Ferguson, because I had told him, baby brother, just be patient. Every revolutionary doesn't live to see a revolution. And he got his, and like you said, he's bumped into Rahim. The best is yet to come.
Right. That's like when the dynamite and the fuse. What was that show where the fuse and the dynamite would be? But
then you do have, and that's where I love the unity with the union with Muhibb and Quab, because those are mind pieces. That's the thought.
It's you know what? It's spring. Yesterday was the first day of spring, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's spring.
Well, today, actually.
Today is the first full day of spring. So it's spring. It's summertime. We thank God. I pray that we actually made it through winter and it's done and it's gone. Shout out to my son. I don't know if he's listening. Brown Deer Falcons going to the championship.
Dig that.
They made it back from Madison. They play the championship game tomorrow. So I know you want to make it over to the press conference.
You know what? You were talking about spring. with this winter, with the past few weeks, I've heard a lot that it's going to be I've heard a lot of speculation about what the summer will bring, but I predict this is going to be a very powerful summer.
Well, that's what I was getting to, is that it's time for us now to roll up our sleeves and get to work. The summer, we got a lot that we can get accomplished, a lot of work we can do. I mean, I really didn't even notice because we was busy during the winter. We really didn't take any time off, it being the winter. But we got a lot of work to do this summer. It's a lot going on. We were just talking before we came on air. We got part 2, 3, and 4 with Kenny Gamble coming on. We got some other town halls, community connections that are going to be taking place. We're going to be expanding to another day.
Really?
The radio show.
You know when that starts?
No, not yet. Not ready to announce that yet. But yeah, we'll be doing another day of the show. So there's a lot that's going to be happening. 2 new schools opening. Remember, everybody, if you know someone that is qualified, they have to be certified and qualified in order to teach at our schools. We are having a hiring fair this Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon at Webster campus. They can get more information at the website uacb.org, or they can call one of the locations, the Webster location, 716-5858. We are hiring now for fall of 2015, but you have to be qualified and certified for the position. So a lot of exciting things that are going to be happening, and we will be back here in the studio next Friday for another edition of Universally Speaking. Thank you, Keon, for stepping up as usual.
Yes, ma'am.
And until next Friday, we'll see you again, same time, same station. Peace.
Peace.